Dr. Treffert, thank you so much for everything that you've done for kids like me. You gave me a voice to tell others. Autism does not define me. I define my autism.
The good that he has done by connecting to me and to other people and helping us to understand what's happening and us to send that web out, is this ripple effect, this wave that he's created of good things.
He sensed that people needed more of a platform to share their beautiful work with the world, and also to kind of gain some career or independence, basically, using their gifts.
He's extremely patient for a person with all his degrees. And a lot of doctors, like Hollywood people, they like you to know how important they are. He never gave you the sense that he was anything other than a guy you'd meet in a coffee shop with some ideas. And also, most people who are experts don't listen very well, and in our phone conversations, he never interrupted. And that's why I would call him so often, because he's the only person in my life who doesn't interrupt me.
I miss my friend, missed him every day. He's a great soul, continues to be a great soul, and I do think his love and care for others, the legacy that he leaves, the Treffert Center is not just a brick and mortar place in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. It's also a virtual presence across the globe. It's all of the people that lives have been touched, and so I really see his living legacy as the love that he brought to relationships, and certainly in our friendship was present as well.
We need to be keeping Dr. Treffert alive by continuing his work. My first contact was his book, Extraordinary People. And I really liked that book because it emphasizes what somebody can do. You may have somebody that's very limited in certain areas, but they have a great talent in music or art.
One of the things I remember is how helpful he was in getting Alonzo set up with different media events, because he was the person who was kind of the contact for any shows that wanted to feature people who were savants. And so he was the central point. He was the one that really helped Alonzo become commercial with his art. And Alonzo wants to be commercial with his art. He wants to feel like he's selling his sculpture and he's making some income from it. And it was really Dr. Treffert's influence that made those wonderful things happen for him and made those dreams come true for him.
I mean, I always will regard Dr. Treffert as my mentor. I have learned so much from him, and I will keep learning from him. When I visit a school and someone says to me, this kid is misbehaving, he's misbehaving all the time, there's no reason for it, And I've learned that there's a reason. The minute you ask, what does he like to do? Oh, he likes this, but we don't allow it. That's where my whole Treffert mentality sets in, Whatever that is that student likes to do, that's all you're going to work with. Start with that.
Everybody talks about how magical he was, but there is something about how that guy managed time that I cannot imagine how he had it. There's something magical there. I think he had more time than everybody else, and to have the quality of time and to spend that time. People often say when you're with somebody special like that, it would seem that you're the only person that matters to that person. And he felt, and everybody that I interviewed was like, I swear that he was just there for me, because there was never a moment that wasn't 100% dedicated to the people that were in front of him.
He was atypical in his humanness, his kindness, compassion, and the time he took, to listen and to, think, well, this person, shares similar thoughts or passions to me. And I think probably, I remember when I left, it was either the first trip to the Treffert Centre or the second, Darold dropped me off back at the motel before I was leaving the airport. And he just said, Treffert, he said, we sing from the same hymn sheet. And I think that was the last words, he ever said, but it just was, so, I guess, reinforcing to me, and such an honour, that he actually kind of verbalised in that very simple way that we were like-minded and, shared the same passion and interest in this topic. So
I learned more from him on a personal level of how he spoke so highly of his family, and how, the one thing I always remember is that he said he would always make it home to dinner. No matter what was going on that day, he had to make it home to dinner to his wife and his kids, and when you guys all grew up and moved out, always making it home to his wife at the end of the day, and making time for the most important things in life. And that always stuck with me, because I think that's such a fine balance that is very difficult for people to have, and he did it with such grace, with such ease.
Mine was a very lonely journey, but had it not been for Dr. Treffert, I don't know where we'd be. And when I read this article, I was thrilled because my kid was jumping off the pages. And I wrote to him and I said, thank you. My kid was 5 at the time. I said, thank you very much for this article. Well, he wrote back a lot. So for about 1.5 years, we conducted an email dialogue, and he wasn't diagnosing, he was comforting. He was giving hope that there was something outside of a diagnosis. I attribute my son's success in life to that one article and his continued support throughout the years.
I think he's brought together so many divergent thoughts and expressed them so well in his 2 books that he is a lasting influence. And I have difficulty believing he's not with us because he is so important in the fields of autism and savant behavior.
He talked to me about training the talent. We were going on tour out to Minnesota. We lived in Massachusetts at the time. We're going right by Fond du Lac, and so I asked Darold if we could stop in and meet him. And he said, come on up. And so got to meet him. The Treffert Center had just opened up, so however many years ago that was. So I got to see the Treffert Center, and he took Tony over to play in the lobby of the hospital, letting people know that just because you have a disability doesn't mean that all is lost.
Ping Liang, you want to come? Come. Come, you tell Dr. Treffert.
Great artist.
Say again.
About to be great artist.
Say.
Great artist. About to be great artist.
You are a great artist already.
Who do you want to be when you grow up? Say again. Come.
About to be great artist.
I want to start this with to say thank you to Dr. Rosa and Dr. Treffert. It's an honor to be here, and the purpose of coming here, I didn't expect with so many events. The initial purpose we want to come here is just that I tell myself that after 10 years of meeting you, I want to come here personally to say thank you to you. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for all the knowledge you impart to me.
He was an enormously interesting man because I never saw any ego, any arrogance, any ambition that was striving for either finance or recognition or power. He did advance in terms of responsibility and managed different facilities. But he always took the job thinking, I think I can do that. I think I can do it better, as a commitment to service for the institution and its patients and the community. I've never seen that combination in anyone else. And he read people, he had an instinct, and he was there for you.
We remember his warm smile, his reassuring words, and his welcoming presence. We can almost hear him saying, keep doing what you're doing, and love is a good therapist too. Though his impact has been felt globally, many of us here have had the honor of shaking his hand and looking into his friendly, ever-curious eyes.
Dr. Treffert has been a mentor, a friend, a confidant, and the humblest man I had ever met. My life has been enriched by knowing Darold. For the many years we enjoyed our long friendship, it has been truly an honor to be his friend.
Love and appreciation shines through, and love is a good therapist too, and it is.